I don't know anything about Breitbart News or any of their staff members. All I know is what's been reported in the media about Breitbart News since the election, since the person that was apparently their head guy was named chief strategist in the White House. So all I really know about them, I've never bothered to check this out, is that they are supposedly a right-wing publication associated with the something called the alt-right movement, which I don't think I'd ever even heard of until recently. But I don't have to know anything about them to have an opinion on what happened at UC Berkeley the other night. There was a group of college Republicans at UC Berkeley who had scheduled a speech by this guy. I can't even remember what his name was. Apparently he was an editor with Breitbart News, and the fact that this was going to happen got spread around among the students, and there was a tremendously violent reaction to that. Now, Berkeley was at one time associated with something called the free speech movement, but here you have people who are reacting violently against free speech. If you say that you believe in free speech, that means that people can speak any opinion, not just approved opinions. And a lot of people, for whatever reason, did not approve of this guy. And as I say, I don't really know anything about him or his publication. I've never bothered to find out. But there was a very violent reaction to this. And there was setting fire, and there was property damage, and there were some people who were apparently accosted and possibly assaulted and things like that. And the campus police and the local police didn't do much of anything about this. It was just allowed to go on uncontrolled. And so you had a situation where a certain point of view was strongly disapproved of, and those who disapproved of it were being able basically to have their way. And as a result, this event got canceled. And as I said, that's just brazen hypocrisy if you say you believe in free speech, because free speech applies to all viewpoints. It just does. And if you're not willing to have all viewpoints expressed, then you don't really believe in free speech. The same thing happened at Trump rallies over the past election season. They have every right to have their rallies, and they have every right for their candidate to express their point of view and to go there and support it. Other people never had a right to go and interfere, and people who did go and try to interfere and try to shut down, well, then the campaign had every legal right to respond forcefully, and they did. I mean, nothing gives anybody a right to go interfere with somebody else's event. You just don't have that right. And so apparently these students never think about the possibility that they might want to make a living one of these days. Now, we're not hiring anybody here. I don't know when it will come about that we will hire anybody. Right now, the four of us are doing just fine, and it doesn't look like that's going to change for a while. But say somebody came here to talk to us to potentially be another pilot or something like that, and we find out, and we would find out, that they were involved in something like the UC protests. And as soon as we have that information, I've got two words for them. We're done. Because they're sure as hell not going to work here. Because we want people who basically abide by the rule of law and don't believe in chaos. Because you cannot work in aviation and not believe in some semblance of order. There are rules and regulations that have to be obeyed in this business, and they concern your own safety and the safety of other people. Aviation is an extremely regulated business in the United States, and rightfully so, because it's a business that is dangerous in many ways. And someone who just brazenly violated, standards of conduct, such as what happened at UC Berkeley, there's no way they would ever work here. Now, it kind of makes me wonder, there are these people who've had this sort of ban-the-box movement about saying that companies shouldn't be able to find criminal histories. Well, we definitely would, whether anybody liked it or not. But I wonder if it's not, the thought isn't that they should be able to cover up things like this and that organizations shouldn't be able to find out about it. Well, we definitely would find out about it in any case. We don't look favorably on that sort of thing. And another thing we don't look favorably on is habitual use of illegal substances. Now, a lot of people have tried those things. That doesn't make them a lifelong criminal that they've tried it, but habitual users wouldn't get through here either. We don't look kindly on that. And neither does the FAA, And neither do the New Mexico State Police or the Texas Rangers. But I got some news for you about aviation. Any place that you fly over, besides the FAA, any place that you fly over has jurisdiction over substance use while flying. And so habitual drug users wouldn't get through here. And so I think you got a lot of people at Berkeley thinking that maybe they don't ever need to make a living, because there certainly are lots of firms and organizations that will not accept people with that kind of conduct, and they shouldn't. Because you can't just have that kind of chaos. People don't have a right to respond violently whenever they want to. And personally, I think local authorities should step in and prosecute every damn one of them who's involved in an act of violence, because there was nothing happening that justified that. And furthermore, they're hypocrites if they say they believe in free speech and then they go out raising hell because a speaker that they don't like came on their campus. Well, do they believe in free speech or do they not? Apparently not. That is so hypocritical. And, we would take a hard line toward anybody who wanted to work here and got involved in something like that, or a habitual drug user, because there are rules and regulations and safety procedures in the aviation industry, and you have to believe in some semblance of order to work in this business just like you do in a lot of other businesses. And I think it's a shame that those who got involved in all that violence at Berkeley so far haven't been arrested and prosecuted, because that's exactly what should happen to them, and their criminal records need to follow them for the rest of their life. There doesn't need to be an out for this. Anybody that they want to deal with in the future in terms of employment needs to be able to find this out, and they certainly do have a right to reject them for that kind of conduct, and we certainly would. People may not like what I said about that, some people might not, but, anybody who doesn't can go take a flying leap. We don't believe in this chaos, this unrestrained conduct that was demonstrated at UC Berkeley the other night. Decent, civilized people don't do things like that. And that's my opinion on the UC Berkeley protests, like it or not.